I'm Tim.
I'm Rob.
I'm Alex.
I'm Matt.
And we are Doghead.
What up, guys? It's Ethan G here, back with another interview. Today I'm live at the Castle Theater. Today is December 7th. We got a variety of bands playing tonight. My first interview of the night is with Doghead. Thank you guys for coming in. Great show, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. No, set was awesome. So just to kind of start things off, why don't you tell me just a little bit about your guys' band? Like, how long have you guys been playing? How'd you guys form, maybe? Like, what's the story there?
Tim, you're the best at this story.
We started pretty much during COVID. Honestly, probably like a lot of bands, for something to do because everything was closed down. So it started with me and our bass player, who's not at this show because he actually runs like a collaborative venue in Kankakee, and they got a big show tonight. But Anyway, he lives in my neighborhood, so me and him and this other guy, we started jamming, and I played in bands with Rob for years, like just different projects and stuff, hardcore bands and stuff. And so, long story short, we had some demos, and we kind of sent them to him because he heard a clip and was like, well, let me throw some vocals on it. And he's amazing. So we got the demos back, and we were like, we got to start a band with this. And so
the pieces slowly were coming together.
Yeah. And so we've had like members kind of shift around, like just pretty much all friends of ours from Kankakee, you know, that play in other bands and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much how we got started.
Awesome. Yeah, and you guys are like what genre would you say? Like hardcore, metalcore? Like what would you guys say you're at on the scale metal?
We're definitely like a hardcore band, kind of post-hardcore. I mean, we're all kind of inspired by different stuff, but definitely like heavy alternative stuff and hardcore punk rock, metalcore.
Yeah.
I mean, I like even just some straight up metal and death metal and
sure,
stuff too.
dude.
But we try to make it melodic, and we try to not, like pigeonhole ourselves too much for a specific kind of sound. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, you guys sounded great. Yeah, you mentioned you guys are from Kankakee. Crazy thing we didn't know until like 20 minutes ago. I am also from Kankakee, so we're all from the same hometown, which is pretty sick. But since I've been down in Bloomington, I haven't really been to get around to the Kankakee scene as much as I would like. What can you say about the scene? What's it like right now?
Well, currently our bassist is, like you said, running a collaborative with Matt. Here is also a, what are you? He's a part of it as well. He helps run it. A helper. And there's actually a scene in Kankakee for the first time since I was in my late teens. They put in a lot of work, and they're having bands almost every weekend. And it's cool to be a part of it, us being a little older than a lot of the scene down there. But it's awesome to see that grow and help kind of foster a place for kids to come out and make music. We've even had bands start exclusively to play there because that's the kind of environment that we have there.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to see Kankakee kind of not have anything for a while and then blow up the way
something starts blossoming, and then it just kind of keeps snowballing from there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands, and there's a lot of people that play music down there, but for a long time the only place to play was a bar. So
kids can't play bars.
Kids can't play bars, but then on top of that they just have a different kind of, a lot of times they don't want like punk bands, for example. It's too aggressive. They don't want that kind of music. So to have a space that is like welcoming to basically anyone, to play music is cool. And Matt helps. He does a lot of the sound stuff. He does like band sound stuff for a living with like touring bands. So
nice.
He does a lot of the stuff with running the sound at that venue. So
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of being a little bit older, it's like kind of nice to be like a gentle guiding hand.
For sure.
When we were like 16 or 17, it was super like everyone for themselves.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like it's just a popularity contest basically.
Mm-hmm.
And our bass player James, he's like, this was his, like from the ground up, like wanted to make this thing happen. And like Rob said, like every Saturday basically, except for maybe like 3 or 4, I think since like June, there's been a show.
That's awesome.
So however many weekends that is, like there were probably that many shows in Kankakee in the last like couple years.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, total. And like Tim was saying, like in bars, nobody's there to see music. It sounds terrible. And like we're still working on figuring out like the quality of the show thing, because we're in a different place like every other weekend, because
Yeah.
like a lot of DIY, it's just a nonstop cut and run.
For
But
sure.
like considering that would lead you to think like, oh, good luck keeping like a group of people together, but like the same 50 kids are coming or more like
Yeah.
every weekend. Bands they've never heard of, like they don't care. They're not
Yeah.
just coming for their friends. It's sick. And we've definitely had a bunch of people like hitting up to play there, and they're like, oh, we heard Kankakee's, like you got to play Kankakee.
Yeah.
Like people are rolling through and then leaving being like, you got to go,
Yeah.
you know, telling other bands. So it's definitely like just the grassroots thing, and it's taken virtually no time to see this incredible community start blossoming. Like Rob said, it's been 15 years since there was like anybody anywhere to play that wasn't a bar. So yeah, it's been pretty righteous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had bands from Canada come through. We've had bands from Kansas City come through. We have Home Invasion there today playing, which is a good hardcore band from Chicago.
Cool.
I don't
Sick.
know.
And they're getting paid.
Yeah, and they're getting paid.
They're paying bands. So
So-
it's awesome.
Yeah. No, and I see you got like a Kankakee hardcore shirt on too, right?
Oh yeah, these
No,
are our
I-
friends Loot.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Luke.
Shout out Luke.
Good friends of mine good friends of all of ours. Yeah.
You sure about that?
They're my friends.
So yeah, no, I delved into your guys' discography just a little bit on Spotify. So I saw, yeah, you guys had
Well,
hit me with it.
you're missing 344 songs because Spotify removed them.
What?
So,
Shout out Daniel Eck.
fucker.
Yeah, our EP Tether got removed because of like botted Spotify playlists, which I
Oh,
think a lot of
what?
bands are dealing with right now. So
Oh, it
I'll
sucks.
spare the whole story, but
Yeah.
it's going to get put back up. But yeah, up on there is the Lariat single, and then the Silver EP, which is our first one.
Yeah, no. So I checked out the Silver EP. Sounded really good. And also Lariat. Is that you say it right? Yeah, Lariat goes hard. I remember I wrote in my notes. I was like, goes hard. we were
That's
talking
a
fun
about
one
it
to
today.
That's Alex's song. So
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex.
Yeah.
What's your guys? So I know you said you have some experience with like the engineering side, or like the sound design. So what's your guys' recording process like? Do you guys go to a studio? Do you do it more like DIY? Like how
I
do
think
you do
it's
that?
been a little different every time. The first one, Tim is a great songwriter. He's an incredible guitar player, drummer. Like he could be a one-man band, and I think
He has done it.
was for Silver, it's literally all Tim, right? All the instrumentals and everything.
Silver, I played everything, and then he did the vocals.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
the first EP, and then
He tracked everything at his house. Rob
in
did
my
the
basement,
vocals.
like DIY basement
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that's
you know,
awesome.
And then our friend Dennis is a great engineer. He plays in that band Bong Ripper, records all their records. If you've ever heard, you know their shit sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And he lives in Bradley, right next to
Yeah,
Kankakee.
yeah.
So we have access to this like incredible resource. So I think you recorded the vocals
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Silver
And
there with
Tether.
them and Tether. And then we did almost all of Tether at his house.
And then Lariat, the single was
at Matt's house.
Yeah, we did that.
We're
at my
just
house.
anywhere we can
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
It's just DIY.
Yeah,
And that probably helps like bring more inspiration though, because you know, like a new place, you I don't know, you're just taking things in differently, and all it can take is a new environment. So let's try and do something new. You know.
Yeah, and there's no like rush when you're like. I feel like when you're at a studio, you're like, man, we're getting paid. We're paying them by the hour.
Yeah.
So the ability to record yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like I can even record vocals at my house. It just takes like a $100 setup.
Yeah.
and it sounds like shockingly good. It's awesome.
No, that's the new wave, man. It's really crazy how far technology has come, where you can just set up in your room and like you know, I got an electric drum set at home, and I've recorded like a couple little like tracks or whatever on it. And honestly, like it's pretty insane that I can just plug that up and
100%.
don't have to have all these mics and stuff set up. Like,
Oh
you can
yeah,
do
especially
crazy
if
stuff.
if your samples are good and you're like you got that hand to kind of like humanize, when you're using samples and stuff. Like there's probably a bunch of records that I love that I'm like, oh, I don't know how they got this drum sound, and they'd be like samples.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, it sounds, it's somebody playing. Like even if somebody is not playing it, they wrote it. You know what I mean? It's their intention. They wrote it. There's so many awesome ways to like get art out. I know people like the death of studios and all that stuff. Like the economy of music is so insane and has been changing. It keeps changing so quickly. But like the fact that it's easier than ever for people to like, I have an idea or I need to express myself, and there's almost no barrier. Like that is such a win, for everybody. People, we benefited immensely from, like Rob said, $100 like
I mean,
great microphone.
recording
so.
is expensive. I mean, going to a studio is expensive. So I know they have a lot better gear and like all this crazy stuff. They can make you sound nuts. But if you're playing like, music that's all related to sort of like the ethos of punk rock, like, honestly, there's never been a better time to, get some stuff and try and just do it yourself.
Yeah.
And put music out, because it's cooler to put music out, even if it doesn't sound as polished as some crazy studio, than not
Totally.
put anything out at all if you really want to do it. So
Like
Yeah.
the world needs it.
Yeah.
Like so I'd happily listen to like a record of iPhone recordings
Uh-huh.
and have like I just had a buddy who like put a whole album full of like the voice memos out.
Yeah.
He just like put them together. He was like, "Hey, these are not cohesive or anything." And I listened to it and I was like,
That's pretty fire.
it was like
yeah,
crushing,
yeah.
I was like, it truly does not matter as long as you can tell what the intention was, and that's, it's sick. It's a good time to be making art. And if anybody is listening to this and you're like, shit, I've been wanting to start a band, like just go for it. Like if you got any time, do it. It's because you'll change your immediate little world around you for the better, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, man. It's crazy because I wasn't always like this big music dude, but once I started getting into it with my friends, like, and I started, I'm like, I would start on FL Studio. I'm big into making beats and stuff like that. And it's just kind of funny how that can kind of like it snowballed into like kind of taking over my whole life. Like I wasn't a big music dude until my friend, he was crazy making beats, showed me how to make some.
Yeah.
Slowly started getting more into that kind of stuff, and now here I am doing this kind of.
That's what I'm
love
saying.
beats.
You don't really know.
You'll
Like,
Beats are
change somebody's
sick.
life.
Yeah.
You're like doing that thing, and somebody sees you doing it. They're like, "Oh shit, I could do it."
Yeah.
And then here you are now. Like that's the power of like the musical experience and community. It's
Yes.
so valuable, man. That's awesome.
On the topic of silver, I did have a question. The dog on the cover, whose dog is that?
that was my dog,
Okay.
Ozzy.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, he passed
Oh, so
some
sorry.
time ago. But yeah, he that was we got our band name. One of my friends at work is like super into punk and stuff, and we were trying to come up with a band name, and he came up with our band name,
Nice.
and we liked it and rolled with it. And so when it came time to make the first like album cover, I was just like, well, we got to put a dog
Yeah,
head on it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And my
Specifically
dog
a
is
dog's head.
Yes.
my
Yeah.
dog Ozzy was super funny looking, Boston Terrier. He was the best, and just like any photo I would ever take of him would just be wild.
Yeah. Very
we-
photogenic.
We could be a band for like 20 years, and the backlog of stuff that we have, like it could literally just be Ozzy for
Yeah.
20 years, and there's
Yeah.
just like an
shout out to
unbelievable
Ozzy.
amount of
Yeah.
hilarious stuff. Yeah.
Shout out Ozzy, man.
And then, well, of course, you can't see Tether's not on Spotify, but Tether has Rob's dog on the cover of it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So keep a theme
Whenever
going
I get
there.
that
Yeah.
back up, you should give it a spin.
Oh, I
and
will.
You'll
Most
see
definitely,
that
yeah.
album art. It's cool.
My dog sleeping in my recording closet next to a Nintendo Miracle piano.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nintendo
and
Miracle
that like you can still. It's pretty much like just
Spotify.
Like it's still on Apple. It's
Yeah.
definitely. I think it's on YouTube. It's on our Bandcamp. Like it's there. It's just Spotify is like the one that is like the easiest to use and the best algorithm for discovering stuff. So it'll be back eventually. But if you're like starving to hear it, it's all the other places.
Okay,
still. Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
No, I'll definitely check it out. I got one last question for you guys, just so you know. So I didn't know that you guys had some stuff taken down. When was the last time you guys dropped? What was your last release?
It was like February or March, I think, is when that single Lariat came out.
Okay.
Of this year, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because we made it like in January, like in a week or two, and put it out. And yeah, there's, I think, half of the tunes we played tonight of like 8 songs, like 3 of them are brand new, or like 3 or 4 of them are unreleased at least, you know. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to ask. So what's the plan for 2025? You guys thinking about trying to get some of those songs out, or just keep on writing? What's the what's the plan?
Both, yeah. I'm sure.
We got an EP, 2 singles or an EP, and there's also a cover that's going to be on a physical release. That's already done.
Okay.
It's already mastered and everything. We just gotta basically finish like putting that out, and then we're sitting on probably like 13 other songs. So, you know, it's obviously better for bands to do singles and stuff now, and sort of build them up than just do big releases all at once. So, yeah, our plan for 2025 is to basically start chipping away at those and just keep putting more singles and some physical releases. I think we have a major goal of hopefully someday, maybe next year, like putting out either a 7-inch or 10-inch or some kind of like vinyl release thing.
Be awesome.
So,
Big picture disc with Ozzy's head on the other
Yes.
side. That's my dream.
I need to see that
personally.
happen.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I
Yeah.
will.
So
No,
yeah, we like doing a physical. We have a cassette tape of Tether right now, and it sounds really cool, you know, when you listen to it like on a tape player. So,
Nice.
but yeah, we want to do some new music and maybe a record. And
Yeah, I'd like to put out a record because the new songs that we're writing are some of the favorite pieces of music I've ever been a part of. We actually opened up with a song that we haven't even recorded tonight, but it's like, it's so good that we just started playing it immediately. We probably weren't even super ready to play it, but
Hey, everything sounded great.
I appreciate
Thank
everything.
you.
Yes.
I mean, that's how you get songs ready, though. Like you record a tune like before you ever play it live, and then you play it live for a little while, and by the time it's coming out, you're like, oh shit, I wish we could re-record this one part or whatever. Like running stuff through the live environment is like, and then doing it, like you work a lot of that stuff out, I think. Just like out of the necessity of like, I don't want to fuck this song up. You know, you definitely iron it out. So yeah, there are a bunch that like when I got like the Wrapped thing at the end of the year, you know, of all the streaming stuff, like Doghead was like my 5th.
Yeah.
And for one second I was like, man, this is gonna be, I'm gonna catch some shit for this or whatever. And then I was like, no, that's sick. I was like, I'm in like one of my favorite bands playing this music that I like love to listen to. Like the stuff that's not out yet, I'm just like always going back in our group message, like, because I never save the files on my phone, so I'm like scrolling. Where's that one MP3? I gotta like jam it, you know. And
I know what you mean.
yeah, so hopefully we get like as much of that stuff out as possible, because like, yeah, if you're a good sign is like if you're making stuff that you're like, I gotta hear it again. Like, you know, I think that we put something out if we're like, we've been playing this for a month and we like still love playing it. Anybody who's like dug our stuff, I think it's because like we're just doing stuff that we like a lot. Like we'd play in the basement for fun. Yeah. And be like, cool, great, see you next Wednesday. And the fact that like we get to, this is like the biggest room we've ever played in probably as a band so far. And like that's, I think what we're looking to do is just like continue to have, like even with like the varying recording experiences, it's like just trying to have new experiences, you know. Awesome. Music's such like a great medium for you know, those experiences. So yeah, hopefully a bunch of that next year.
Awesome. No, I'm looking forward to it. I will definitely be tuning in for your guys' next release. Yeah,
Thank you.
Really are sick. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming for the interview as well.
Yeah, thanks a
Doghead, follow them on Instagram. I'll drop that right down below. And thank you for tuning in, and see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for having us.